So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's do the iPhone 17 Pro Max versus S25 Ultra versus Pixel 10 Pro XL speed test. Now I understand the S26 Ultra is on the way. We'll do the speed test again when that phone comes out. We'll also do them again when the newer version of the Pixel comes out. And we'll just keep it going. We're having fun around here. But the S26 Ultra is not out yet. But let's go ahead and begin with a boot up test here. We'll go ahead and time it here on the timer in 3, 2, go. And we're going to start with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, I started from the time I clicked the button, not necessarily from the time the Apple logo appears. So do keep that in mind, and I'll try to stop it as close as possible, probably within a second or so margin of error. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. And we'll wait till this appears. Now the iPhone tends to take a little bit longer than the Pixel, but we'll see how Samsung stacks up. So I'll stop it right there, and I am aware that the 5G is coming on, but around 24 seconds to get to that lock screen. So you could say 23 if I was a little bit slow on the finger. Not horrible though. If you're in a pinch, you need to reboot the phone, not going to take that long. Let's go ahead and see how the Samsung does. 3, 2, go. And so you'll see right here, Samsung takes a quick second for that Samsung logo to boot up right there. And you'll see this phone is turning on. And I don't think it's going to be that much different than the iPhone. We'll see. Maybe a little bit faster, maybe a little bit slower. So the Samsung actually got in there faster. So this device got in there, 18 to 20 seconds. So about 4 or 5 seconds quicker than the iPhone. Not bad. Now the one I think that is going to get to the home screen or the lock screen first is going to be the Pixel. So let's go ahead and boot these up in 3, 2, go. And we'll see what happens. There's the Google logo. And I understand once you swipe in, sometimes they got to load up their apps. But let's go ahead and see what happens here. Yeah, the Pixel just ridiculous on the launch. So Pixel has the fastest booting easily of these three, so not even a contest there. But the Pixel is not necessarily a contest in the chip. We'll go ahead and see though in the real world if it really matters day to day. All right, so let's go ahead and do a quick test of the unlocking speed, and you'll see iPhone just kind of sees you at all times with that sensor up there, that Face ID sensor, so you're right in. With the Samsung, you also can easily unlock with the face as well if you look at it like that. But it tends to have the more secure method like this. I do find the Samsung quicker to get in because once you know where the fingerprint sensor is, it's kind of like I don't even need to look at the phone. So it could be like over here. I could just go like that and I know I'm in unless I feel a vibration, which means I missed. But generally, I know I'm pretty much in there. So you seen right there, I unlocked it. I'm in the device. So let's quickly do the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL now. All right, guys, so we're going to do the Pixel now. And the Pixel does unlock with the face as well. You see the little unlock sign right there. Pretty similar to the iPhone with that, unless you bypass it. The actual fingerprint is pretty quick on there. You see right there. So this actually can get in, I think, a little bit faster than the iPhone as well. So I would say the quickest unlocking is probably the Pixel. Samsung's fingerprint to me looks a little bit slower because it's more animated. But both of them, these two are pretty much the same, and the iPhone last for sure. So that's just what it is there. Now, general speed of the actual home screens, iOS is going for a more visually pleasing look, a little bit more animated. If you do like liquid glass, you like the bounciness of it, you're going to enjoy this software quite a bit. But if you're more into speed, the Samsung just generally operating this thing, it tends to fly through everything. Like look at this, like we're in and out of here. So productivity fans, people who want to get things done quickly, Samsung is where it's at for sure with One UI. They also have put in some nice animations as well. So when you come in there, they do look pretty nice. And you can slow those down if you'd like as well on this phone. So no big issue there. Very fast, still semi-animated, I would say, but not quite as animated or as a little bit more slower animations as the iPhone. Doesn't mean the iPhone's better though. Let's go over here to the Pixel. To me, this one is also incredibly quick. It kind of flies through everything as well. I would say that the Pixel is a little bit more like One UI when it comes to the actual speed. It seems to fly across things a little bit quicker as well. So it seems to fly across things a little bit quicker as well. So the Pixel to me and the One UI experience, both of those based on Android, are a little bit snappier feeling than the iPhone, which feels a little bit slower when it comes to its actions. Let's go ahead now and get into this app test. So here we are at the app test. Everything is closed out for all phones. Now I am bound to make a mistake in what I'm calling which phone is which is the winner, because I'm looking at 3 different phones, looking at a camera at the same time. So call me out if I call one wrong, and just say which one it was down below. But let's go ahead and have some fun here. Let's go into calendar to begin. 3, 2, go. And look like it was Samsung, Apple, and then the Pixel. Let's swipe up out of there. We'll go in the clock on all 3. 3, 2, go. And to me, I think it was either iPhone or Pixel and then Samsung. But let's go ahead and head up out of here. We'll go into calculator. 3, 2, go. Samsung first, Pixel second, iPhone third is what I'm calling there. We'll go into Play Store on all 3. 3, 2, go. I think that was Pixel, Samsung, and then the iPhone. We'll go into ChatGPT. 3, 2, go. That was faster on the Samsung. Then these two kind of the same over here. Samsung does a good job there. You can see no number row. Look at that space for the number row, Apple. Put that number row on there. Let's go ahead and swipe up out of here. We'll go into Gemini. 3, 2, go. And that was Samsung, Pixel, and then iPhone. Let's go into Grok. And that was Samsung, but these were popping up, so it's kind of the same there. We'll go into Copilot in 3, 2, go. And Samsung, I think maybe iPhone, then Pixel. Those are so close, these two right here. Let's go into Groupon. Oh, I missed the Samsung. So let me go ahead and launch it so it's saved in cache, and then we'll relaunch all 3. We'll do this again. So let me go ahead and close this right there. And we'll go into Groupon again. 3, 2, go. That was Samsung, followed by, I think, iPhone, then Pixel. Pixel and iPhone is the ones that I'm seeing are closer. The Samsung seems to be winning here. Let's go ahead and swipe up out of here. That's good signs for Samsung S25 Ultra, which is not even out yet. Let's go into Instagram. Oh, we did it again. See, this just happens. It's a little bit hard to do 3 phones at a time. So let's just go ahead and run it back. We'll go into Instagram. 3, 2, go. And there's Floss right there. Let's go ahead and swipe through here. We'll go into this way. We'll scroll down. We'll scroll down here. And we'll swipe up out of there. Let's go ahead and go into X now on all 3. 1, 2, go. And you'll see, I think that was the Samsung again, followed by those 2 on the right. Let's go into Subway Surfers. iPhone in the lead here, Samsung second, Pixel in third. So here's where it gets interesting in the gaming department. Now, have you been noticing though, a lot of people love to trash the Pixel for being oh so much slower. But if you're noticing, it ain't even that far behind in reality of using these apps. This phone ain't gonna slow you down just because these pop open a little bit faster over here. So I mean, this is not a big major deal. And I am aware I just clicked the iPhone a little bit late there, but that wasn't the point. Let's go into RTS. 3, 2, go. And you can see Race to Sun is going to launch first here on these 2, nearly identical with Pixel third. Now, you don't buy the Pixel for games, but it can still play most of the games on the Play Store anyway, just because these are mobile optimized games. All these phones can do that. Let's go into Free Fire on all 3. And the Samsung display is the one that keeps standing out to me the most, though. It has the smaller punch hole, anti-reflective properties. I do understand they've been using it for a while, but it is the more unique looking display here of the 3. That one was Samsung first, followed by Apple, and then the Pixel. Let's go into Call of Duty. All right, guys, so let's go into Call of Duty on all 3. 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. And I'm covering up the Samsung because I believe it's going to pop up my emails for launching on this phone in the middle. And we'll see what happens. So yeah, the Samsung, because sometimes when you have 2 accounts, it makes you kind of like make sure you're logged in on one or the other. But the Samsung device actually was loaded up first, then followed by the iPhone and the Pixel. Tends to be where the Pixel tends to shine is not necessarily in the games. That's where it kind of falls apart a bit. Let's go into PUBG Mobile. And it's really the main reason I've said before, The Pixel is just one CPU and GPU upgrade away from being on the same exact level. I mean, we don't even got to talk anymore about that. Once they get that CPU at the same level, and I believe they're going to do so this year. I mean, hopefully they do. If they don't, it's going to be coming. They can't keep avoiding this. Like, it's just obvious that that's the upgrade to make on the phone. So it's not that it doesn't last. These phones are still very well optimized, and they're going to still run really well in the future, but they're just not as fast, and that's just the bottom line. Let's go ahead and pull this down, and we'll go into Destiny Rising on all three. 3, 2, and go. Destiny Rising is a more graphically demanding game. Tends to take longer to load up on most phones. So it looks like iPhone is in the lead here. Now Samsung caught up, and now Samsung might be in the lead. Pixel catching up as well to the iPhone, and iPhone taking the lead there. So it was iPhone to win there, and then Pixel in third place. But that wasn't too far behind. I mean, we're talking like a couple of seconds. We're not talking anything massive. In the actual gaming play, though, I do think having the better GPU does make a difference on these devices here. So for sure, go ahead and pick yourself up one of the other two over the Pixel when it comes to gaming. For AI features, for Google experience, for more simple software, I think you might like the Pixel a little bit more. 3D Mark, boot it up first on here. Don't know what's happening over here on the right. There it goes. Let's go ahead and run speed test net now. 3, 2, go. And you'll see fastest over there on the right, or over here, these two, and then this one right here. And we'll go into InShot on all three. Fastest on the Samsung, followed by Pixel, iPhone. We'll go into Geekbench 6, fastest on the left. Boom, boom, right there. So wrapping things up, the Google Pixel was last in this test, mostly just down to the games. In regular apps, it wasn't even very behind. So if you're not a gamer, Pixel's totally fine for you. If you are a gamer, I'd recommend the Samsung of these three. It is the biggest feeling screen here. It also has a vapor chamber. The iPhone is a good middle ground. It is pretty good in gaming as well. Very good thermals, very good performance, but it has that notch that gets in the way versus that small punch hole. And it is good for battery life. So I would say this is a good in between these two, having kind of like the Pixel's like nice polished experience on the iPhone, but also the Samsung's type of performance. So it's a good middle ground, but Samsung probably won this test here overall, and then followed by the iPhone. So let's go ahead and do our RAM management test now, and we'll see what happens here. So if we go through these, the iPhone doing really well with its 12 gigabytes of RAM. And we'll go over here. Its animations are no longer the smoothest I've seen, but they are still incredibly competent. They do a pretty good job for the most part, and I don't think a lot of people are going to care. It looks like X was getting a little relaunch there. Probably reloading the feed because they tend to do that. I'll go over to calculator, clock, and calendar. Fantastic performance. Now Samsung really stepped it up here. When they came out with the S24 Ultras and the S24 line, they got really good in this department. I don't know what the heck I just did right there. But if we go and swipe between these, you'll see Samsung's still doing this blinking thing though when I'm relaunching applications. We'll go over here to Subway Surfers. You've seen right there. Not a fan of that blink that just happened. But there's like a little, I don't know if you're noticing this. There's like a little bit of a stutter though. Like when I'm going quick, like it's like it's smooth. It's super smooth and fast, but sometimes it just kind of hiccups a second. But it's still very good. Like it's not laggy or anything like that. Let's go over here to the Pixel and see how this does. And you see the Pixel, it looks like it's smooth as well, but it looks a little jittery when I'm jumping between. You see that little, like, look at that little blinking stuff going on. And like the movements are a little bit jittery. So not that any of these aren't smooth. I just want to see these phones get a little bit more like what I see on Oxygen OS, like very smooth and like just buttery smooth, like when you're going through the apps. So out of all of these softwares I've tried, these of these three right here, I would say that the iPhone probably did, these two right here are pretty close, but the iPhone probably did the best here, I think, in relaunching the apps. Samsung was probably in third place, but I would say that out of all of these, some of the Chinese phones are just doing better when it comes to the way the animations look when switching between different apps and stuff like that. And the final benchmark scores are in, and you can see the iPhone with the W. in both single and multi-core score, but only a little bit over the Samsung, with a substantial victory over the Pixel in the multi-core, with the Pixel doing pretty solid in the single core, but needs to up it in the multi-core performance. The saving grace for the Pixel though is that it does have 16 gigs of RAM. These two phones only have 12. So what that means is that in the long haul, the Pixel should still do fine, but also handle AI down the line as AI continues to advance. I do think that we are going to see a really, really strong overall performance for Pixel continuing down the line as they advance their AI. But this Pixel 10 Pro XL is never going to be your gaming phone. It's never going to be the fastest, beastly flagship performance type phone. It is pretty good, but it's just not Samsung Apple good when it comes to gaming and just pushing the device. But I do think in the long haul, it's going to do better with AI as they continue to do updates, where the Samsung will probably have to get the newer phone to get the best AI experiences. Same with the iPhone, which is still kind of in beta with their Apple Intelligence. So I'll be back when 3D Mark is done here. So I ran a speed test net and the iPhone pulled in 415 and 41 up. Let's see if the Samsung can beat that. And it does look like it is going to easily beat that. I told you that the Samsung tends to have better network performance. I've mentioned it before, and this test proves it. We're on the same Wi-Fi, and you're going to see we have a much bigger download right there. But I find in 5G, the iPhone has gotten better by a long shot from before, but the Samsung still tends to give me better signal strength. Let's see how the Pixel does. Pixel used to really not do great in this area, and it's actually going to perform the worst of the bunch here when it comes to this speed test net. Pulling in 227, that is ridiculous compared to the Samsung right there. That's like about 3 times worse on that area. I'm going to run it back one more time on the Pixel just to confirm, because that is just a little bit weird. Let's go ahead and click that one more time. And I'm not trying to give it credit. I'm just trying to say that just a little bit low. Okay, it's still not pulling in more. So Pixel's not going to give you the fastest network performance, it looks like, either. So yeah, this phone is just really not packing the same type of performance as the Samsung device nor the iPhone. So uploads is about the same, but still the Pixel has really good AI, really good RAM levels, and I do love the Android 16 Pixel UI. It is really nice to use day to day. The AI features, the camera, it's just giving you not those blazing fast hardware specs you get on these two, but the Samsung still seems to hold it down as the king here of that. I'm really excited to see where Samsung goes with the S26 Ultra. We are looking for multiple upgrades, including let's get a bigger battery in here, let's get even better performance, let's get better cameras, and let's get a 10-bit display possibly. And we'll see if they change it up quite a bit this year. That would be rather nice. But wrapping it up here, I'm going to have to say I think the Samsung won this test overall. iPhone slightly behind, very close though. And then the Pixel just lagging well in the third. And you probably already expected that, but I did this test anyway because you wanted to see what they actually look like day to day. That's just launching. That's just network performance benchmarks. In the real world though, using all three, I kind of don't really think about this until I compare them, if that means anything to you. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you on the next speed test comparison and review. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.